Hello everyone! Thank you again for watching my videos or listening to my podcast wherever you are in the world. In this one I wanted to speak to you about slowing down. And if you've been listening to my podcast or watching my videos, you know that that's actually a huge theme in my thought processes recently, probably in the last year or so. And it's because I've had the capability of slowing down a little bit more because I've had a more steady income and I've had to do less work recently. And I noticed that the difference in my psyche, the way I sleep, the way I interact with other people, the way I am less irritable or less impatient, the way my entire outlook on the world is changing because of the fact that I'm able to slow down a bit more. And I can see the difference between me in the past, where I was just rushing through my day, not even noticing anything at all. Every moment just slipped past me in a frantic, worry, anxiety sort of psyche where I could not even stop still for 1 second because I was afraid that I was going to miss out on something, because I was afraid that I didn't have enough time to do everything that I needed to do. And even just talking about it right now, I can feel that frantic anxiety rising up within me and with my heart. And so I can see the difference, as I said, between how I am right now. And I'm not even that slow right now. I'm still working a lot and I'm still doing a lot of different things, but I am much slower than I was perhaps a year and a half, a year ago. And I notice how much better I feel because of the fact that I can slow down a lot more. Now, it's also probably because I'm a little bit older now, 1 year older, but also I'm getting older. And so I noticed that, the things that used to be important to me in the past are not so important anymore. And the things that are really important to me right now were not important in the past at all. So that also is resulting in me removing and shedding a lot of different things I used to do that seemed extremely pertinent to my life are not so pertinent anymore. And so that causes me to have more time to myself, and also realizing that I don't have to run so hard, I don't have to rush so hard, I don't have to do so much, because there's no one standing next to me with a ruler or with like a stick telling me work harder, do more. If you don't do more, then no one's gonna love you, or no one's gonna care about you, or you're not a suitable, productive member of society. I realized that made up scenario in my head was was causing me to work so fast, to run so hard, to do so much. And it was an imaginary scenario because there was no one standing by me telling me to actually do it. It was just all imaginary. And even if there was, me being told to work faster or run harder wasn't actually making me do anything more productive. It was actually ruining a lot of different things that I was doing. I actually look back upon the way I worked in the past, and I noticed that my work was very shoddy because I was always rushing through it, because I was always running through it, because I was always not paying attention to what I was actually doing in the moment, because I was always thinking about, oh, what's the next thing I have to do? Oh, I have 6 more things on my to-do list today. Oh, I have 10 more things to do this week, or whatever it might be that was in my head. And it's interesting because a lot of my videos in the past, or podcasts in the past, people would say, you talk so fast, I can't barely understand you. And I would get that feedback over and over again. And of course I try to slow myself down, but because I was in such a frantic rush, and even now certain days I'll notice myself rushing again, and I'll have to slow myself down, or I'll have to stop and ask, okay, why am I rushing? What is it exactly that's causing me to run around as if something's chasing me, when there's nothing actually really chasing me, and there are no deadlines that I have to meet. All of the deadlines that I've set for myself are my own deadlines, so I can always move them about if necessary. So, I always am able to slow down now and observe and say, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I running so hard? But now I don't talk as fast either when I'm doing these videos. I am maybe much faster than a lot of people out there, but in comparison to me a year ago, a year and a half ago, there's a huge difference. In comparison to me 5 years ago, there's a major difference. And I can really feel it in the way my body feels as well. I notice that my movements are slower and softer the way I fall asleep is slower and softer. I can sleep for longer without anxiety or without waking up in the middle of the night. I spend my days, some parts of my days actually sitting and just staring off into space or looking at the clouds or listening to the birds or the leaves rustling, and I don't feel that anxiety within me saying, oh my god, I'm wasting my time, I should be doing more, I should be more productive, what am I doing in my life, kind of thing, which I would always be thinking about in the past, where constantly there would be this refrain in my head that said, you're not doing enough, you need to be more productive, you need to be more productive. That refrain is not so strong anymore, so I can just relax and I can slow down and I can speak slower, do things slower, be with friends more slowly, and rush less, because there's nowhere to get to. And the more I look at it, the more I realize that there's nowhere to get to. And all those scenarios or goals or things that I built up for myself are all just really fake and have no meaning or purpose to them, really. And so, as I said, as I move forward and I move to this kind of arena of moving slowly, I loved that quote from Elizabeth Gilbert that I recently read that said something like, I want to live in a place that is so quiet, and I want to move so slowly that I can hear myself living. And as soon as I read that quote, I had goosebumps, and I just had this like soul knowing that this is exactly what I want to do. I want to live in a place where it's so quiet, where everything moves so slowly that it teaches me to move slowly. It teaches me to slow down and be in the moment. It teaches me the importance of not rushing through things, not running so hard, not being so frantic or so anxious all the time. And I want to live in a way where I can actually observe myself and see myself living. Because right now, I can only see myself living in hindsight. I look back upon my life and I analyze it and I realize that I'm living. But it only happens in hindsight. It's only when I look back upon it, when I analyze it through my journaling or through meditation. But I want to actually be aware of it in the moment itself. And I believe that that kind of awareness requires you to slow down immensely. And I am getting there, but I'm not there yet. I'm definitely not in a space where I can slow down enough that I can observe myself living. I'm slowing down enough that I can observe other things living, so I can watch the trees and the plants around me and the bees and the bugs and the birds. But for now, I still am moving too fast for myself to notice myself living. And so I'm so grateful that Elizabeth Gilbert shared that quote, because it really spoke to me at a deep level. And I really do want to inculcate that into my life as time comes on and as I get older and older. And to get to a place where I am living that slow life, where I can observe myself in a very slow manner and really live in the moment, because I'm definitely not doing enough of that right now. And so definitely that'll be something that I'll put on my bucket list of things that I would like to accomplish in quotes, in the future. And I'd love to hear from you on what you think about the slow life. And I'm sure, of course, it's not for everyone. In fact, actually, I would say it's not for most people, because I've realized that a lot of people actually like living very fast and in a very high pace, because in a very fast-paced way, because it, in a high-stress, fast-paced way, because it actually appeals to them and is where they are in the moment, and they're able to be, they're happy if they're living that way. And I know for the longest time, perhaps I was maybe happy as well that way, or I perceived myself to be happy. I know now that that wouldn't make me happy anymore. So obviously things change, and just because I lived a certain way in one part of my life doesn't mean that I have to live that way in the future. And just because these people are living a fast-paced, high-stress life right now doesn't mean that they're going to constantly forever be living like that. But different people like to live differently. So of course, some people are going to be happy living extremely fast-paced, and that's great. But I'm realizing for right now, that doesn't work for me anymore. In fact, it's just not for me anymore. It just causes me to even be extra stressed and it makes me lose my sleep. I don't sleep as well. I don't eat as well. I don't drink enough water when I'm in that high stress, fast paced mode. And my work suffers. I don't produce good quality creative work. And I just don't enjoy myself when I'm living in that manner. It feels harried, and it feels frantic, and it feels filled with anxiety. I just can't do it anymore. So yeah, I would love to hear from you and which phase of life you are, what kind of pace you're living at, and if you ever aspire to live a slow life, or if that's something that you never even thought about. Again, thank you so much for listening or watching, and I shall see you or speak to you in the next one. Bye.